Welcome back. I'm back. You're back. Hey, we back. Welcome everyone to this episode on the Ultimate Sports TV, guys. It's time for Week 4 in the NFL. Thursday night football's right around the corner. Can't wait for Bengals versus Jags. Could we see a surprising in that game? I will reveal that. I'm giving my Week 4 NFL game predictions in this video, everyone. We got some great marquee matchups in this one. Arizona Cardinals versus the Rams. We got the Seahawks versus the 49ers. Browns versus Vikings. Oh, we got a premier matchup on Sunday Night Football with the Bucs versus the Patriots. Tom Brady returns to Gillette Stadium. Love to see how that plays out, everyone. I'll predict all of these games, including those games, right after I remind you to subscribe to the Ultimate Sports TV. Want to make sure you like this video for me, share this video and YouTube channel, then comment down below what you think your favorite team will do in Week 4 down in the comment section below, everyone. First, we're going to start with this Thursday night football game, Bengals versus Jaguars. I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. I just think they're the better team in this matchup. Right now, although they're not the best coached team in the league, Zach Wilson has done a pretty good job this year. I think they're the better coached team opposed to the Jaguars, who just haven't found their identity and have not gotten it right with Urban Meyer so far. I think the Bengals pass rush has looked pretty good this year, although they had some pieces lost. They did add Trey Hendrickson. But look, I just think the Bengals offense is going to be able to make more plays because their offense has more weapons, has more star power, but also is just more organized. And I think their defense has made plays so far. And I think they'll get a lot of opportunities to make plays in this game, knowing what team they're going up against. Well, do I think this game will be close? I do think it could be a little close. Part of me still does not trust Zach Taylor with this 2-1 record, but I do think the Bengals offense is good enough, and I think given the matchup because of the team in the Jags, knowing they're not all that well coached, I do think the Bengals are going to win this game here versus the Jags on Thursday night. So I'll take the Bengals over the Jags in Week 4. Titans versus Jets. This is a no-brainer. I'm taking the Titans here. Flat out better team. The Jets are just terrible. Colts versus Dolphins. I'll take the Colts here. I think they're going to be able to make more plays in the passing game. Both defenses haven't looked very competent so far. Both run defenses haven't looked great. And really, when you look at both teams, it really looks like what both teams are really trying to rely on. That's the run game. Which team has the better run game? That's Indianapolis. Which team will be able to take advantage of their opponent's bad run defense? I think that's Indianapolis because they have the better run game with Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. The Dolphins are still trying to find their identity. They're trying to run the ball, but it doesn't always work. They did have a pretty good game last week versus Las Vegas, but I think in this matchup, I think Indianapolis takes the upper hand and who has the better run offense. So I think they'll be able to control time a little bit better. And I do think when it comes to who can make more consistent plays in the pass game, I will give that to Carson Wentz and the Colts. Now, look, this game is going to be close just because I do believe in the Dolphins defense. I just don't think their offense will be able to make enough plays and be consistent enough. I'll take the Colts over the Dolphins in this one. I obviously take the Bills over the Texans. The Bills are starting to get on a roll. I think they'll take advantage of the Texans passing game in this one. The running game looked good last week. Now, I do think the Texans run defense looks pretty good. So I don't think the running game will be a factor in this one for the Bills. So look, I'm just going to take the Bills in this one. They're the better team offensively and defensively. Now, I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to take the Broncos over the Ravens on Sunday, everyone. I think this is going to be an upset. I like the Broncos this season. I think they're more well coached. And although they haven't played the best teams, I do think their pass rush, their run defense, and their secondary, just overall defensively, they're showing to be a pretty good team. And when you have a good run defense and you do have a good pass rush, I do think that can take away some of the plays that Baltimore makes. And knowing, hey, they're going to have to look to the passing game at some point because in the trenches, you're trying to win the battle and you're basically kind of overcoming at some point. Baltimore is going to have to look at that passing game, and I do think the Broncos make a lot of good plays in it, and I do think they could really hold the Ravens passing game in this one. I think defense is just going to play a major part. The run defense is good, but look, the Ravens don't have Ronnie Stanley. Alejandro Villanueva has not been playing well so far, so I think pressure on the Ravens could be good on this one. But what is it looking like on the other side of the ball? I just don't like the Ravens defense right now. They let the Lions come back because of a penalty. The Lions lost, and it enabled Justin Tucker to be able to hit that game winner. But look, I do not trust the Baltimore Ravens defense right now. The run defense is atrocious, and their pass defense is not looking any better. So look, the Broncos obviously want to run the ball. I think given the matchup, they'll be able to do that in this one with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. And I think Teddy Bridgewater could have a pretty nice game. He's not going to be a game breaker, but he is going to do his job. And I do think this defense will be the anchor in this one for the Broncos. So look, Lamar Jackson's not going to be stopped by any means in this game. But when it comes down to what defenses can make the more key plays, I do think it's the Broncos. And when it looks like a matchup on defense and offense, in terms of the Broncos offense and the Ravens defense, I do think the Broncos could take advantage of the Ravens in that area. I think it'll be a close game because the Ravens are the Ravens and they're going to fight till the end. But given the matchup, I just think the Broncos win this one here. So I'll take the Broncos on Sunday over the Ravens. Now, Raiders versus Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. And look, we have some bulletin board material. Derek Carr said that no matter what home game they're playing versus the Chargers, it just seems like any old home game. It's just like, we don't really care about the Chargers. Their little brother, we don't really care about them. It's just any other game. That's going to fuel the Chargers. And automatically when I saw that, I was just like, this is going to be an entertaining game. But really also when I look at this, the Raiders pass defense hasn't been the best so far this season. I think they've been able to make plays. But when you're playing Justin Herbert and weapons with him in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen that have looked pretty good so far, you're going to have to come ready. And I don't think the Raiders pass game is going to be able to slow the Chargers down, and that Chargers offensive line has looked pretty good. Who's going to win the battle in the trenches? I do think this could be really, really important in this game. Who has a better pass rush to this point? I do think that is the Raiders. But who is the better offensive line? That's the Chargers. Do I trust the O-line for the Raiders in this one? I don't trust them all season, but given the matchup, I do think they could get a little bit of the upper hand just knowing that the Chargers haven't been particularly good in pass rushing. But when I look at who can make more plays in the passing game, I do think that is the Chargers given the matchup. And I do think the Chargers pass defense has looked good so far in this season. And I think it's the best passing game that the Raiders have played to this date. And they made plays last week versus Patrick Mahomes. So look, I think the Chargers are coming ready on this one. I think they're going to play complimentary football in this one. I'll take the Chargers over the Raiders on Monday Night Football, marquee matchup here. Now let's go to Chiefs versus Eagles. I'm going to take the Chiefs in this one. Look, they're just playing pissed off. I don't think the Eagles are going to do much. They didn't do much versus Dallas last week. Now look, if the Eagles win this game, I don't think they will, but if they win this game, it's automatically time to start panicking for the Chiefs. Look, because they're a veteran team and because I think they know how to bounce back, they're going to win this game and they're going to get to 2-2 just at 500. But look, the Chiefs, they lose this game. I don't care what anyone has to say. You have to panic because when you're playing an offense in Philadelphia that's not getting anything going and your defense is not going to have a tough time in this one, your offense has to take advantage of these things, of these misfits for the Eagles. And look, when you have Patrick Mahomes and the offense of the Kansas City Chiefs, you got to take advantage of that stuff. And if they don't, and if they lose this game, it'll be because they didn't take advantage of the opportunities they got. If this happens, panic in Kansas City. I'll take the Chiefs over the Eagles though in this one. Browns versus Vikings. I'll take the Browns. I think they just are better than the Vikings at what both teams want to do, and that's run the football. And I think that's mainly because of the Browns offensive line. The Browns had a 200-yard rushing game last week versus the Bears, and the Bears are pretty good at run defense. Now, although in the past game, the Browns offensive line did allow 5 sacks to get home versus Baker Mayfield, I do think this offensive line will bounce back just because they have the playmakers and they have the coaching to do it. So look, the Vikings offensive line not looking too good. Kirk Cousins is making plays, but he's going versus a Browns defense that'll take advantage of a bad offensive line. We saw their 9 sacks last week versus Chicago. Now, although the Vikings are a more well-coached team, that's not going to stop the Browns from making plays in the trenches. I think when you look at these teams, they're both teams that want to win the battle in the trenches. I think because the Browns' pass rush is better, because their run game is better, and because their offensive line is better, I do think they win this game. Now, I think pass games are really intriguing in this one. The Browns are going to be able to take advantage of the Vikings' pass game in this one. I do foresee a big game from Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. in this one. Odell had a pretty good return game last week. He had 77 yards, 5 receptions, didn't get a touchdown, but I do think this is the week. They might put Patrick Peterson on Odell this game. We'll see what happens. If they don't, like, who's really else is going to guard Odell? And Patrick Peterson has not been great so far this year. So look, I think the Browns pass offense is going to be able to exploit the Vikings pass defense, and the Browns, their defense, mainly their pass defense, has gotten better each week. Now, although they did play the Texans and they did play the Bears, I do think this pass defense is still improving. Now, they're not going to shut down Kirk Cousins. They are going to make plays, especially because they're missing Greg Newsome. But when it comes to the battle in the trenches, and then when it comes to who can make the most plays because of the matchup, I think it's the Browns. Packers versus Steelers, no-brainer here. The Packers are just going to be able to make more plays. The Steelers are looking terrible right now when it comes to the quarterback play. The Packers have the quarterback that is going to make the least mistakes and make the most dazzling plays. And look, although I do have a concern about the Packers offensive line versus the Steelers defensive line, yes I do, I just don't think the Steelers against this Packers pass defense can capitalize off of the good plays that their defense makes. And look, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are going to take advantage of that. So I got the Packers winning this game. I got the Bucs over the Patriots and Tom Brady's return to Gillette Stadium. They're a team that came off of a loss last week, and it's not a team that I think is going to have an emotional letdown the next week, just like I talked about with the Chiefs. Tom Brady's motivated on this game on top of that. And look, although the Patriots pass defense has played pretty well, I do like the look of their defense. But when it comes to who can make more plays on offense, given both of these teams good defenses, I think the Buccaneers will be able to make more plays in the pass game, just because I think that they have the better offense and more weapons to do that. When we look at the Patriots, they don't really have the weapons to do that. They haven't really been able to move the ball downfield. Mac Jones doesn't have the weapons to do that. And so far, down the stretch, he hasn't been all that great. I will take the Bucs in this one just because I think they can make more plays offensively when this is a game when both defenses look pretty good this year. Now, Giants versus Saints. Giants just look like they have no identity right now whatsoever. I'm going to take the Saints in this one. I think they'll be able to run the ball and pass the ball on the Giants. And look, the Giants want to run the ball, and that's how they really get Daniel Jones going. They won't be able to do that, given Saquon's inconsistency so far this year, and given how good the Saints' rush defense is. I'm going to take the Saints over the Giants in this one. I'll take the Cowboys over the Panthers. I think the Panthers could get a little exposed in this one, especially because they're missing Christian McCaffrey, and their offensive line hasn't looked great. So look, the Cowboys are going to get like 3, 4, 5 sacks on the Panthers in this one, and that's going to be a disruptor, especially because the Cowboys are one of the best teams in the league to get takeaways, and I think their defense can make more plays versus the Panthers just because of the pressure they're going to get. I do think this is going to be a close game, though, just because I think both defenses can get takeaways. But look, when it comes down to whose offense can make the most plays and what quarterback is going to make you the play you need, I'm taking Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I think their pass game will show up in this one. Now, the Cowboys pass defense, not one of the best in the league, but they do force you to turn the ball over, and that's going to disrupt the Panthers, especially because of their offensive line misfits so far and because they're missing Christian McCaffrey. I'll take the Lions over the Bears. They just have more sense of identity than the Bears right now. It's an interdivision matchup. I'll take the Lions in this one. The run game, I think they have a little something going there. We don't even know who's going to start at quarterback right now for the Bears. Other than Nick Foles, Andy Dalton and Justin Fields look hurt right now, especially after the outing last week. I'll take the Lions over the Bears. I'll take the Washington football team over the Falcons. I think their defensive line will be able to get to Matt Ryan. That's going to disrupt the whole Falcons offense. They are coming off of a win last week, but when you're facing a better defense now, the Washington football team's defense hasn't looked ultimately great so far. But when you do look at this defense, they are going to get pressure. And when it comes down to whose offense can take advantage of the other team's defense, I'll take Washington just because they're playing the Falcons defense. And Taylor Heineke, no scrub. Terry McLaurin, top 10 receiver. Antonio Gibson's no joke. I do like the Washington football team to make more plays on both sides of the ball in this one. I'll take the Seahawks over the 49ers, and I think both teams will be at 2-2 by the end of week 4. When I look at it, I think because Seattle and the 49ers both have not been good at run defense, both teams will be able to do it. Who will be able to do it better, though? I think that'll be the Seahawks just because they have the better player to do it. And I also think in this game, the Seahawks won't be one-dimensional. That's not to say that I do think the 49ers will be one-dimensional in this game. I just think in the pass game, Seattle can make more plays. And it's not like San Francisco's pass defense has looked incredible so far. I'll take the Seahawks in this one just because I think they can play better complementary football on the offensive side of the ball. Rams versus Cardinals. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. I think this is going to be a very, very good game and a very, very close game. Now, look, the Cardinals' offensive line not looked great so far, especially because of their injuries. It hasn't been atrocious, but because of injuries, they've had some struggles so far. So look, I think the LA Rams pass rush is going to take advantage of that, and they did take advantage of a good offensive line last week versus the Buccaneers, and I think that could come into play, and we know how bad Kyler Murray can be under pressure. So LA, they're going to be able to get some turnovers in this game. And when it comes down to whose offense can make more plays versus the other team's defense, I think that is the Rams offense. Just because I think their offensive line will be able to hold up better, and Matthew Stafford is just playing the best football of his life right now. Now, when you do look at the Cardinals' pass defense, I do think it looks good. So they will be able to make some plays. So that's why I think this game will be relatively close. But when I look at it, when it comes down to whose team's offense will be able to have more opportunities because of their defense, I think that will be the Rams offense in this one, everyone. Just because I think the Cardinals offensive line is going to let them down to some extent in this game. So I'll take the Rams over the Cardinals in this one, everyone. Give your predictions down in the comment section below, everyone. These are my Week 4 NFL game predictions. Other than that, everyone, this has been Malik Hicks, aka The Ranker, the Ultimate Sports TV, signing off. Peace out, and I'll see you on the other side.